Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Noel and I review and unbox subscription boxes here on my channel, and today I have a lovely book subscription to share with all of you. It was not sent to me for review. I am a subscriber of Once Upon a Book Club and I choose the adult selection. They also have young adult and middle grader options, as well as all kinds of one-time boxes. In fact, we are using their limited edition summer box as the next read for our book club, which we run over in the Nobot Nook, which is the private Facebook group for this channel. So if you're interested in joining us for that, definitely join our Facebook group and make sure that you're on the list to get that summer limited edition box. But the monthly box is $49.99. That does include domestic shipping, which I think is a really good deal because inside you will receive the book selection, and they do offer hints way ahead of time. They even make it possible now to find out the actual title if you don't want to have to guess and do a lot of searching to figure out what that title is. And if you want to skip a month, you absolutely can if it's a genre that doesn't sound appealing to you or you just have too much in your TBR pile. You can also switch back and forth between the young adult and adult with a simple email. And of course, they do have a referral program, which I appreciate because as a subscriber, it definitely helps me out when you use my referral code. And the code is just Noel10. That'll save you 10%. I will leave a link for you in the description box below, but it definitely helps me to continue subscribing to this box and also sharing it with you here on the channel. So let's go ahead and get into it, and I will share with you all of the things inside. Of course, it does have this cute little box that sometimes is a very big box that is shaped and printed to look like a book. So we always get our 5x7 quote card, and often on the back there is a note from the author. Now this is one that I kind of wish I had read ahead of time, but I read it after the fact. I will read it earlier for all of you though today. But the quote, of course, is, "The future is being written right now. Everything matters. Every life." And I know some people like to use this as their bookmark, or they'll just kind of post it somewhere in wherever they happen to read as some inspiration, but they do usually also include a nice bookmark instead if you would like to use that. So it has the same quote this time around. Sometimes there are some advertisements inside for upcoming books and other offerings, and there is also, in this case, a signed book plate, which I think is really awesome, and you see the title at the top there. It is, of course, The Last Murder at the End of the World. It was a highly anticipated book. It's by an author called Stuart Turton. I had not read any of his books before, but I know that a lot of people were really excited about this book. He is also the author of, let me see if I can remember, The 7.5 Lives of Evelyn something. I'm sure it's on the cover of the book. Yes, indeed. The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. I was close. But here is our book. We got a nice hardcover because, again, it is kind of a new release. Really nice, shiny, textured lettering here. You probably can't see that, but really beautiful edition. We don't always get hardcovers, but it's always a bonus when we do. Inside, you can see, I'll read the blurb as well. There is a map because he's definitely taking us into this whole sort of dystopian world where the end of the world has essentially already happened. So we have to, there's a lot of really suspension of disbelief and a kind of fantasy and sort of that that kind of world that has to be created, which is hard for me because I'm not that kind of reader usually. Even though I don't mind a little bit of science fiction, I definitely like thrillers, and there was that element as well. But these hardcovers, like this one, for example, retails at $27.99. So you're getting a really good value because along with the quote card, the book, the signed book plate, ooh, we also get a collectible sticker now. It looks like they're going to have collectible stickers. And then you have different ways to display them. So they have a little QR code for the shop, so you can put your stickers on water bottles, posters, and more. So this is a new feature. I'll have to look into that. New way for them to sell some Once Upon a Book Club merch, but also a new way for you to have a nice list of all the things that you have read. That sounds fun. We also get a guide. So this is where it tells you what the book box is called, so it has a theme, right? It's not always just the title because there are hints. It is Secret Laboratory, which was appropriate. Often there is a conversation with the author. I haven't actually read this yet, you guys. I'm trying to get this posted as soon as possible. There's also discussion questions if you would like to actually run this like a book club. So I think that will actually come in really handy when we are using this box as the basis for one of our book club discussions. And they also tell you about the different pages that the corresponding gifts are included in. So you usually get 3 to 5 gifts, and sometimes we'll have like paper gifts or QR code gifts. In this case, there was a QR code gift that took us to some music. I thought that was a nice addition. I really like the high quality items that they have started creating for us. A lot of times in the past, like years past, it felt a little bit cheaper, and I feel like they're really getting into their stride, and they have a big enough subscriber base that they are really creating beautiful items for us that go along with the novels and bring them to life. On the back, sometimes there's like a game, like a crossword puzzle, or like a little mini article that talks a little bit more about the subject of the book. In this case, it's just telling us a little bit more about other dystopian mysteries, or ideas that have similar themes if you're looking for other reads. But let's get into it. We did have 4 gifts this time around. You can see they're always sort of themed. The wrapping or the boxes are themed to go along with the look of the book cover. So we had one on page 107. We had another one on page 192, and you can see how the color coordination is really happening there. I love that we got that signed book plate. I didn't even notice that before. We have another big gift on page 264. Now, some of these were plastic wrapped. I have removed that wrapping and done a little like preliminary opening so that I can share those gifts with you. If you don't want to see what those gifts are because maybe you have this box in mind, or if it sounds good in the blurb and you're like, maybe I'm going to see if there's any one-time boxes available in the shop, then you can always come back to this video at another time. But there will be spoilers in terms of the gifts. The passages that go along with the gifts in this particular case are not spoilers for the book, because there is a lot of detail, and the little passages that I'm reading to you, you can see where the inspiration for the gifts is, but it will not ruin the book for you, I promise. And then this one I thought was really beautiful, our last gift for page 279 with the boat. So just really, really lovely. I mean, this one as well. This is a really pretty nice reusable box. Okay, so let's go ahead and read our... I will tell you, in terms of my book review, I wish that I had maybe read his other books, because maybe I would kind of understand his voice, but I found it really confusing. It could just be because this is a genre, this sort of dystopian, sort of sci-fi world. I felt very ungrounded. There are a lot of characters in this book. There are a lot of voices. One of them is this sort of like Siri character, like an AI program that's basically planted into people's brains. So I found that a little bit tricky. I just saw mine turn on. So, but it was kind of a commentary. Obviously, there's a lot of social commentary in any sort of dystopian novel, and there was a lot of that, and I appreciated that part. But for the actual plot, I found it sometimes rather confusing, and I wish that I had been able to read it a little bit more leisurely, and perhaps with the assistance of an audiobook, because maybe the voices would be a little bit more distinct, because it is told in various first-person accounts, as well as the voice of that AI character that is in other people's heads and also talking to us as a narrator at times. So sometimes it was a little bit disorienting. All right, let's see. Outside the island, there is nothing. The world was destroyed by a fog that swept the planet, killing anyone it touched. On the island, it is idyllic. 122 villagers and 3 scientists living in peaceful harmony. The villagers are content to fish, farm, and feast, to obey their nightly curfew, to do what they're told by the scientists. Until, to the horror of the islanders, one of their beloved scientists is found brutally stabbed to death. And then they learn that the murder has triggered a lowering of the security system around the island, the only thing that was keeping the fog at bay. If the murder isn't solved within 107 hours, the fog will smother the island and everyone on it. But the security system has also wiped everyone's memories of exactly what happened the night before, which means that someone on the island is a murderer, and they don't even know it. So there's all of these sort of concepts, these ideas that you kind of have to accept to get into the novel, like the fact that there's only 125 people still on the island. So of course I'm like, well, that's going to lead to inbreeding. How are they going to continue to populate the world? What are they holding out for? How is it that they all fall asleep at the same time? Like, what's going on? And so there were a few like sort of things that you just had to go with that do become explained and make sense a little bit later on. But, you know, like I said, it was a little bit disorienting for me personally. So let's go ahead and see what we have from Stuart. It says, "Hello everybody, welcome to The Last Murder at the End of the World. My name's Stu, and I'll be your author today. Please keep your arms and legs inside the book at all times, otherwise they'll be devoured by a terrifying fog. Don't worry, that joke will make a lot more sense once I've explained the story a bit. The Last Murder at the End of the World is a mystery novel set on an island that holds the last 122 people on Earth, plus 3 scientists. The rest of the human race was killed by a deadly fog that now covers the entire planet except for this one island. On the bright side, the survivors are having a great time. They're kind and generous, and there's no violence of any sort until they wake up one morning to find somebody's been horrifically murdered, putting them all in danger. I'll leave it there because I want my books to have a surprise on almost every page, and the more I blather now, the more I ruin later. It's fun though, I can say that, and it's got a proper mystery with clues and stuff. Oh, and it's mysterious, and there's some funny bits, and that scary bit, and the thing with flowers, which you'll... No, wait, I'm blathering. Anyway, thanks so much for picking it up. I really hope you enjoy reading it and that you never look at your garden the same way again. Don't worry, that's another joke that will make a lot more sense when you've finished. So I thought that was cute and cheeky and fun and playful, and I kind of like reading it with that sort of more playful voice than the very serious sort of commentary on why the world ended in this book, for example. All right, let's go ahead and get into page 107, which was our first gift. Here's an example of a QR code where they were playing some music, so we did get a sample of music. I thought that was a nice addition, but I want to make sure that we have time. You guys, while we're at it, let's have a secret password. It's going to be island because I'm from an island, but also we're talking about an island, and it also reminded me of sort of a dystopian movie back in the day, Ewan McGregor and the island. So when you come across a secret password, you want to enter it along with your contact information in the Google form linked for you in the description box below. You have to be 18 years or older, you have to have a US or Canadian mailing address, and just as a reminder, it is not affiliated with YouTube or any of the boxes that I open here on the channel. But 5 days into the following month, I'll use a random number picker to select a few winners to receive a mystery box as my way of saying thank you for watching my videos. And you do have to be, of course, subscribed to my channel as well. But today's secret password is island, and if you have any questions, you can leave those in the comments below, or you can just check out the form. It does answer a lot of those for you. All right, so on page 107, this is what it looks like when you come to a page that has a sticky note. Let me see if I can remember what this one was all about. Oh, this is difficult because this is, I think, the voice of Abby, which is the AI voice. I'll confess. I lied to Thea about my ability to recall events after curfew. The truth would only muddy the waters, and it's clarity we need now, though not for everybody. It's important that people see exactly as much as I want them to see. Just put the key away, I urge. He looks at the glass ball in his palm, which has a red hue and is about the size of an eyeball. As you like, he agrees pleasantly, dropping it into his pocket. So it's basically a key. So in here, in page 107, we have this nice wrapped gift, which I have kind of opened up a little bit. And they have created for us, Once Upon a Book Club, glass ball key ice cube tray. So you can see they've actually had it made and the box even printed for us. So it says, unlock the flavors of your favorite drinks with these glass ball key ice cubes. Add fruit or coloring to make your key colorful and flavorful. So I've seen them and I have them. I have the big ice cube trays for like big blocks of ice, as well as a big sphere for your your highball glasses. But I thought this was cool because it is a tray to make smaller balls of ice. So again, this is to be like the glass ball keys that they have on the island. So this was kind of cool, but this is how this tray works. Sorry, I hadn't taken it out of the plastic. You can kind of see there's this side, and then this side has little holes so that you can actually fill it up. So you want to fill it up with water, and then you can put that right on top, and then of course you can kind of fill those top holes as well so they're all the way up, and then when you take it out of the freezer you have those glass balls to decorate with. So much more fun if they are different colors, I would say. All right, so that's kind of a fun thing that they did have created and branded as Once Upon a Book Club. Next is 192. So let me see if I can find this. Trust me, I did not ruin anything for your reading pleasure if you decide to tackle this pretty thick book. I mean, it was a pretty chunky one. I do like those turquoise page edges. So this one says, so you're going to hear a bunch of characters and you're not going to know who any of them are. It says, 4 steps take Emery and Clara into the lab, that is a mother and daughter duo, where Thea, one of the scientists, is bent low over the contraption they pulled out of the ocean. She was using a pair of tweezers to pluck an object from between 2 bent struts. Hephaestus is on the floor, his back to the wall, fiddling with the memory extractor like a kid with a new toy. He's humming a half-forgotten tune that Thea's obviously enjoying because her head's swaying slightly in time. So, again, don't worry about the plot. I haven't ruined anything, but yes, lots of characters to keep straight, and their relationships to each other are a little bit, it's a lot. I wish I had read it a little slower. So it says, oh, pluck it on these cute little tweezers. She's using a pair of tweezers to pluck an object from between 2 struts. And I thought that was cute. They actually put the quote on the back of this little box, and that has those pretty rainbow colors and a nice pointy tip. So always good to get functional items, little fun reminders of your reading adventure. We have 2 more gifts. The next one is on page 264. I will say, while I did find the book a bit challenging, it was interesting to me. I enjoyed, there was a lot of really good one-off quotes just about society and humanity in general that I thought were very thought-provoking, as the whole premise of the book is. And I thought the gifts were very good in terms of being useful and well-made. So this box, again, I think is my favorite packaging for this particular round. Every once in a while, you will get a little sticky that's kind of supposed to be for the bottom of the page, so it's a little bit smaller. Let's see if I can remember what this one is about. Oh, okay. For all its beauty, Emery can barely look at the painting. She feels such resentment towards humanity that she can't bring herself to celebrate anything about them. This must be how Adele feels, she thinks. It's a corruption of the soul. Unsettled, she goes to find her father, who's nosing around in a small kitchen with a clay oven and a humming refrigerator, every shelf empty. There's a knife block on the counter, along with baskets for onions and garlic and a jug of olive oil with a wonky handle. Unlike everything else in here, this was handcrafted by somebody with absolutely no skill whatsoever. A thick layer of dust coats the kitchen, suggesting Nima hasn't used it for a long time. "Dad," says Emery from behind him, "you okay?" "I made that for her," he says, gesturing to the jug. "She told me she loved it, but I thought she was being polite. I honestly thought she'd thrown it away." His voice is dead. Clearly, she's not the only person struggling with conflicting emotions. So they have come across this sort of abandoned space, and there's a sort of missing person who is not there, who has this olive jug still there that he thought had been thrown away. So inside, of course, we have an olive jug with a wonky handle. So it is a 17-ounce olive jug. We just have this nice little card that tells us that. But I thought this was honestly beautiful. A nice sculptural piece that you can actually put olive oil in. And then it does even have the nice little spigot. So you could have this as just an architectural piece on a bookshelf, of course, or here's this little spout with a little closed lid. Then you can also put it in here just like this. Let me see. I didn't actually do this, obviously. So it does plug it up quite nicely, and you can use this to pour out your olive oil, and it does even have this nice little case to keep it in if you don't want to have it out all the time. I'm not sure exactly how best to clean an olive oil jug like this, or if you just, once you put olive oil in it, you're going to use it for olive oil and nothing else, but I guess you could flush it out at some point if you really wanted to, but it would get a little bit sticky in there. But I guess you just pour the olive oil in this way, and then it's really pretty though. I thought it was nice, and it is ceramic. All right, we have one more gift to go, and that is on page 279. Let me see if I can find this one. But you guys let me know in the comments below if you've read any of his other books, Stuart Turton's books, or if you have been interested in taking a look at this one. I do think that this is sort of on your lists of books that you want to read. This box would be a fun way to do so. So this is for page 279. Let's say, that one's a nanoparticular converter, I explain. That's a quantum net. That's a portable particle collider next to an element generator. I stop my description, realizing she isn't listening any longer. In the middle of the floor, placed so it will be seen, is one of Clara's carved birds. Emery picks it up, seeing another one at the end of the corridor. Clara clearly intended them to be followed. Adil's footsteps are growing distant, but suddenly this seems more important. These birds might explain why they came here the night Nima died. Emery collects the second bird, looking left and right for the next. The corridors are so long she has to walk a little up each one before she sees the bird. More junctions follow, more carved birds, more labs and offices, a gym filled with exercise equipment she can't make head or tail of. Finally, she hears the whir of a drill and the crunching of metal. She goes towards it, passing more birds. All right, so in this little box, we have, of course, Clara's birds, but they are not just little decorative birds. They are actually a salt and pepper shaker set, which I thought was so sweet. So these two little ceramic salt and pepper shakers. I usually do the salt in the one with more holes and pepper in the one with less holes, but I know people have differing opinions on that. And they also have a little foam bed to live in. But again, placed so it will be seen is one of Clara's carved birds. Emery picks it up, seeing another one at the end of the corridor. So we have the quote on the back and this cute little salt and pepper shaker set. I thought these were adorable and really cute for like a small little cafe table if you have limited space and you don't have like a huge dining table where you have the big, you know, pepper mills and salt mills. I thought these were really, really sweet. So of course you can fill them from the bottom. So you guys let me know what you thought about this book. Again, I found the book a little bit confusing just because it's a little outside of my like comfort zone, but I enjoyed it and I thought the gifts were really good this time around. If you are interested in trying this kind of reading out, check it out and use that code Noel10. I'll see you all very, very soon in my next unboxing.